Hello and welcome to the world of the spirit consciousness. This is a book study session on the Etheric Double by Arthur Powell. We are discussing the fourth module, which covers part of chapter 22 dealing with nature spirits. So, in this book, in this video, we have sourced whatever information that we could gather about nature spirits throughout the book, The Etheric Double, and we've pieced it together into a single video session. So, discussing nature spirits in detail, we'll be looking at the introduction, the evolution, shape and appearance. The shape-shifting ability of nature spirits shall also be discussed, the affinities and aversions of nature spirits, and there are certain lower kinds of etheric nature spirits which will also be briefly discussed. Coming to the introduction, so etheric vision allows one to see many beings of the lower strata of nature spirits who have etheric bodies. So for this, etheric vision is required, and this is something that will be discussed in a later module. So beings like fairies, gnomes, brownies, their tales have been told in the Highlands of Scotland, Ireland and other countries belonging to this group. So these are the etheric nature spirits. At times, peasants have also witnessed nature spirits, as been affirmed by several pieces of literature. This book does not mention about what exactly are nature spirits and their role, but from web sources it says that their job is to build and maintain the plant kingdom along with working with other beings from different planes. But when we look at this book, The Etheric Double, there are more roles assigned to nature spirits. So throughout the book, The Etheric Double, we come across nature spirits in various contexts. And this video will give insight into the kind of roles that they perform and characteristics they possess. But these points that we're discussing here are by no means exhaustive. So in the discussion on prana, we had learnt that nature spirits builds the loosely constituted astral mass, which become the future astral body. So it also builds the nervous system, which the consciousness at the early stages of development is unable to do. So nature spirits can also be dominated very easily using mesmerism, and then they can be used by the magician to do his bidding. So if the task given to the nature spirit by the magician is within the powers, it will certainly be done. So it's also nature spirits also have some connection with talismans. So a variety which leads to a type of lesser developed nature spirits, and that provides the requisite forces for the desired outcome. Now the evolution of nature spirits. So nature spirits have ascended an evolution through grass, cereal, ants and bees, tiny nature spirits. Then they will ascend further as salamanders or the fire spirits. From there they progress towards the air spirits, also known as sylphs. Eventually they evolve into a kingdom of the angels. So in a particular stream of evolution, the lives pass from the mineral kingdom into the etheric vehicles instead of evolving into the vegetable kingdom. So as etheric vehicles, these beings live in the interior parts of earth within solid rocks, which cause no obstacle to their movement or vision. So basically what it means to say is, if you consider this as a piece of rock, so these beings may live inside, and the fact of a rock being there will not cause any obstacle to their movement or vision. At a future stage, most beings still occupy the solid rock, but closer to the surface of the earth. Some of the more developed gnomes briefly separate themselves from the rocks. These developed creatures are occasionally spotted and often heard in caves or mines, and can be seen due to either of the following two reasons. Either they materialize themselves by temporarily using a wheel of physical matter, or the observer becomes temporarily etherically clairvoyant. So, in terms of their shape and appearance, so there are several forms of fairies, but most often they are human shaped and quite tiny in size. So generally a particular limb or feature of these fairies is disproportionately large. Since they are made up of etheric matter and etheric matter is easy to be molded by thoughts, these fairies can take any shape and size whenever they like. However, they do have a fixed shape of their own which they prefer when they don't have any specific reason for taking any other form. In order to take a form other than his own, a fairy must conceive it clearly and keep his mind fixed upon it. As soon as his thought wanders, he will once again resume his natural appearance. Certain lower kinds of etheric nature spirits have a very unpleasant appearance. So this we will be discussing in the last section of this video. So they also have a shape-shifting ability, part of which we have discussed more on that. So these fairies can take any shape and size whenever they like. However, there are certain limitations to how much a fairy can change its size, although this limitation is wide in scope. A fairy that is naturally 12 inches in height can increase its size up to 6 feet, but with a lot of effort. It is difficult for it to maintain this height beyond a few minutes. So etheric nature spirits are made up of etheric matter which is easy to mold by thoughts. So likewise there are nature spirits from different realms, for example astral nature spirits and mental nature spirits. So therefore there are differences in how fairies from different planes change their shape. So mental matter changes with the thought of a person. So that means at the moment you think, the shape has been assumed. So astral matter responds more quickly to thoughts than the etheric matter does. And hence it transforms very quickly, so much so that an ordinary person can hardly tell the difference. An etheric fairy can increase or decrease their size at a fast pace, but not as instantaneously as the astral self. So with the help of etheric sight, a person can see the modification of size of an etheric fairy quite easily. Affinities and aversions. So these nature spirits are very shy and hesitant about us humans. So these natures also have a very strong objection to proximity with human beings. So they strongly dislike the physical emissions of an ordinary person, such as meat, tobacco, alcohol, and also the low selfish feelings like lust, anger, or depression. So this revulsion is shared with all types of nature spirits except the lowest type of nature spirits. Hence, one does not get to see nature spirits often. So the nature spirits love an atmosphere of strong, selfless feelings of a noble nature. Most nature spirits also love music, especially certain melodies. So Leadbeater has claimed to have witnessed a group of fairies surrounding a shepherd boy who was playing on a homemade panpipe and was completely unaware of their presence. So finally coming to the last section of this video, and therefore this module itself, certain lower kinds of etheric nature spirits. So certain lower kinds of etheric nature spirits have a very unpleasant appearance. They are shapeless masses with large red open mouths who survive on the disgusting etheric emissions of blood and rotting flesh. So some of them are described as rapacious red-brown crustacean which linger around houses known for bad activities. And some of them are further described as monstrous octopus-like creatures which feast upon the excesses of drunkards and they thoroughly enjoy the odor of alcohol. So then there are certain very low level of creatures. They pretend as tribal deities or often are accepted as such. They demand blood sacrifices or for whom food, most likely the flesh, is burnt. So these entities possess etheric bodies because they can absorb physical odors only through etheric bodies and they receive nourishment or pleasure through them. So the next video will be dealing with the very interesting topic of birth and death. Look forward to see you there. Thank you.